Hey everybody, it's me, Dave. And I'll be right back. And I'm back. So I am heading over to band rehearsal, guys. That's right. Gotta go up to Niagara Falls for a little band practice, and maybe you'd like to take a ride with me. Don't you know, I must say. Of course, find my fake cigarette so I don't drive myself crazy. Okay. Gotta have the blue. So, how's everybody doing tonight? I know I'm doing good. Heading over to band rehearsal in Niagara Falls, and I didn't get to make my video today, so I thought I'd make a little video whilst I'm driving. Of course, you know my name is Davey Z. It's a dark video. It's going to be dark in here because, well, I don't have a light on. Maybe I could put one on like that. How's that? Is that better? There we go. No, can't do that. How about that one? No. The radio light. That gives you a little bit of light. Better than it was. So anyways, today was a pretty uneventful day for me. I spent most of the day at the house. I had plans this morning, and unfortunately my bad stomach foiled them plans. I don't know about you guys, but I get up in the morning, sometimes it takes me just an hour to get my stomach to calm down. I normally take a hit on my vapor pen for medical marijuana, a couple of them, and the stomach ache feels better. So, but yeah, on my way to rehearsal, and I know I've said that already. You know, sometimes you get stumped on what to do a video about. You know, you try to think of a subject, and it's like, all right, what am I going to say today? You know, lately I've been talking about doing videos of, excuse me, my life, which I've been doing. I gave you some Navy stories. I gave you some kid stories, and my grandson, and my flying, and my Navy days. I think I said that, but I don't know. I've never ever really talked about my days on the road with Chubby Checker. If you follow me on here on YouTube, you know that I've told everybody that in the 80s, the early 80s, right after the Navy, 1982, I started with him. I was on the road with Chubby Checker, and traveled all over the place with the guy, man. I went from New York to LA, and oh my God, everywhere. Alaska, British Columbia, various parts of Canada, Toronto several times, New York City many times. But when I started with Chubby, I was a young guy. I mean young. I don't think I was 22 years old. And I was living in Akron, Ohio with my ex-wife and our one child at the time, Jimmy. And my ex-wife got pregnant when Jimmy was a little over a year old. So I was working at a gas station called a gas station called Sohio in Akron, Ohio, and it was on West Market Street. And it was East Market, and it was right next to a place called Tangier's Nightclub, like a Tangier's. And what a nice club it was. It was beautiful. The guy that owned it was a local guy. He had a lot of money. Actually, he got murdered years later. They had him on Unsolved Mysteries as a murder case. Sorry about the camera, guys. I'm driving. Yeah, he was murdered, and his wife was murdered too. And I think that's another story. But the guy who owned it ended up, I'm pretty sure either he killed his wife or she killed him, something like that. But they're both dead, I think. But long story short, this big bus pulled into the gas station, and the manager of the band got off the bus, and he was putting air in the tires, and he didn't know how to use the air machine. So I had to show him how to use it. And I started shooting shit with him, and his name was Patrick Stella. Good-looking Italian, Polish guy from upstate New York. I believe it would be in Watertown. And Pat was a great guy, man. He had a wife and kids. He was young. He was like 34 at the time. To me, he was an older guy back then, but he was only 34. And he was just a really good guy. I don't think he had the experience that he said he had on the road in rock and roll. I don't know who he claimed he worked for, but I know he didn't have a lot of experience because he really didn't know much about music. Everything he knew was about, management. And, you mix rock and roll and business, somebody's going to make some money, and it wasn't me. Anyways, me and Pat started talking, and I told him I was a musician. I had a wife, a kid, and went on the way. And I was tired of Ohio. It was the 80s. I couldn't find a job anywhere because affirmative action had kicked in. I was still painting a little bit too. And I told him, I said, hey, well, if you ever need a guitar player, a rhythm guitar player, I said, backup vocalist. I said, hell, if you ever need a roadie or stage help, let me know. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, well, I had to give him my neighbor's phone number because I didn't have a phone in my house. Back then, we didn't have cell phones. And I gave my neighbor's number, and Pat Stella called me a few weeks later and said, hey, is that offer still good? Still want to come to work with us? I said, what do you mean? I said, well, I talked to Chubby, and right away, I said, you talked about me to Chubby Checker? I was starstruck, And he says, yeah, and Chubby said, give you a shot, so we want to bring you aboard. Welcome aboard. I'm like, holy crap, I couldn't believe it. Here I was, 22 years old, fresh out of the Navy, a wife, a kid on the way, no experience in life, and a musician my entire life. Hold on, I'm getting on the throughway and it's raining. A musician my entire life, and hold on. I hate the throughway driving at night when it's raining. I had been a musician my entire life. I started out playing trumpet when I was a kid in 4th grade, and I kept playing up to now in bands. Not the trumpet. I gave up the trumpet after high school. I think I played for a couple years after, and just didn't really do much anymore for me. I wanted to be out front in a band singing. I guess I could have taken the trumpet with me in my future endeavors in music, but I left it behind, and I was more interested in learning how to play the guitar better. And I got better at it, but I could never get the damn leads down, man. I just didn't have it in my left hand. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get leads. Small little riffs, a couple little lead riffs I know, a couple scales, but other than that, these guys, I've seen guys learn to play guitar in 2 months, they're shredding a guitar, and I don't get it, but God bless them. My talent was, singing, and I'm a pretty good drummer. I'm a good rhythm guitar player, good acoustic guitar player. I do what I do whatever I do musically, I try to do the best to my ability, as hard as I can. And I think that was something that impressed Pat, Chubby's road manager at the time. Because I told him how I was with the bands. I was trying to get something going. I'm always doing something musically, blah, blah, blah. And I want to get out of the gas station. And I need a break. And, you know, so I went from making like $140 a week, pumping gas 40 plus hours a week, selling cigarettes, to making almost $800 a week as the assistant stagehand manager with a glorified roadie is what I was in the beginning. And my job was driving the bus, taking care of the bus, setting up the stage. No amplifiers were involved for us. We didn't have to touch any musical equipment except for a Hammond B3 organ and a couple Leslies that went with it, and a Yamaha Baby grand piano, a CP70. It came in 2 pieces with legs. Really nice baby grand. And our keyboard player sure knew how to rock it, man. Wade Preston. God, that guy was good. He's online. He actually got hired working as Billy Joel in the touring Broadway hit My Life. He played Billy Joel, and my wife and I, Sean, actually went and saw him. It was a pretty good show. But getting back to Chubby, my job entailed that, and I was like Chubby's right-hand man, I guess you could say. You know, I was the guy that would, like, you know, on the road, I'd have to stop at the truck stops and run in and get him them little oatmeal cream-filled cookies and his drink that he wanted, or coffee, because you know, he's a celebrity. He's a living rock and roll legend, and when he goes into places, people want to see him and talk to him, and sometimes, you know, they're only human. They don't want to be bothered like we wouldn't, and they celebrities, that is, you know, they have a life too, and they need to be left alone when they want to be. So yeah, Chubby would have me go in and get things for him, and you know, it was really cool, man. I got to meet a lot of famous people, tons of famous people. Too many to name, but just to name a few, I got to meet Wolfman Jack, Dick Clark, The Temptations, The Four Tops, Huey Lewis, The Letterman, Frankie Avalon, what's his name there, the country guy, Hank Jr., Helen Cornelius, Willie. You know, I've got to meet a lot of famous people via Chubby. And Chubby, to this day, is a good friend of mine. I've known him since 1982. I worked for him for about 5 years, 3.5 actually, because I had a little break in there. But we stayed friends all these years, and you know, I'm going to see him in March. He's coming to the Falls in Canada, and my wife and I are going to go hang out with him and have dinner and go see his show, and you know, visit with him for a while, and then I'll see him again next time he comes to town. I got a text from him the other day, said he's looking forward to it, and he'll get a hold of me when he gets in town. So to me, that's an honor. It's a privilege to be friends with a living rock and roll legend. I mean, you know, it's amazing. But the starstruck, the awesome part of it is gone. I mean, you know, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I still think, wow, here's a guy everybody in the world knows, and he's a friend of mine. So that's kind of cool. You know, I had my chance to make it when I was on the road with him. I just never attempted. Oh, somebody calling me. Excuse me. Hello?
Hey David, this is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
See you tomorrow at 2:30?
I will be there.
Okay, great. We'll see you then.
Okay, on. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Dental appointment tomorrow to get my new teeth. Yay! I get my my veneers done tomorrow, and my upper bridge permanent implant thingy. I'm so excited. after all these years, well, 4, but I needed some dental work done. My teeth were getting bad. I had a loss of calcium. They made me take calcium pills now. I take 2 of them a day, and it ruined some of my teeth. So anyways, and a couple accidents I had. But yeah, Chubby was an outstanding man. You know, he was a family man. When I was working for him, he had 3 little ones. Well, his one was just a little younger than me, actually. Bianca, she was 16 at the time. And Shan was like 14, and his youngest, Helka, was like 9, I think, 8 or 9. But they were nice little kids, you know, and Bianca was sweet as hell. I got to know her a little bit. And his wife, Rena, she was either 62 or 63 Miss Universe. Or Miss World, or something. No, Miss Universe, yeah. From Holland. She won the title. And Chubby and her have been married since then, I think. Maybe just after that. But he was very adamant about doing things his way. If you're driving down the road and you grind the gears on the bus, he'd come out in his jock strap and start yelling at you. The hell you doing in my truck, my bus? Or he'd walk around in his robe with a jock strap, and the robe would be wide open. I'd be like, Chubby, close the front door, please. Please. There's a lot of things I know about Chubby. They're just better left alone. But all in all, he was a great guy to work for. He paid me well, treated me well. He was nice to my family. He you know, he'd call me and ask me to come a couple days early to his house for a tour we were getting ready to head out on, and I'd give him, you know, I'd help him get the bus ready, because he was all about his buses, man. His buses were his babies. I mean, he's an entertainer and loves his audience and his fans, but I think them buses meant more to him than life itself. He used to lease buses out to rock and roll bands when they come on tour in America. He leased one to The Who, Brothers Johnson, the English Beat. I mean, all kinds of bands that toured America. He leased the buses to him and provided a driver. I actually almost went on the road with the English Beat, but I turned it down because I wanted to be with Chubby. I didn't want to work with another band just driving. That would have been boring. No shows or nothing. And after my first year with Chubby, a couple of the roadies quit, and I kind of got promoted to stage manager / assistant road manager, I guess. I don't know. When Pat was working, I used to have to help Pat out. Pat got arrested one night when we were in Chicago on New Year's Eve in '83 for directed traffic, so I could back the bus up into a spot, and the Chicago police arrested him for it. So I ended up having to find a spot for the bus to park, and then taking over from Pat that evening, and we had to bail him out the next day. But, you know, working for Chubby was fun, guys. One of the best experiences of my life. I'm going to shut down right now, and I'm going to post another video tomorrow about my round 2 about working with Chubby Checker. One thing I did want to say about him, when it came to partying, when I first started working for him, if you got caught with a joint, he'd fine you $50. If you ever got caught with any marijuana, he'd fine you out of your pay. And then, in the end, he was starting to get high with us. So, I don't know. Chubby's a good guy. He likes his wine. Well, he did. But he also was a great guy. I love him to death. So, alright guys, I'm going to cut it because I'm driving in some heavy rain here on the 290 in Amherst, New York, and kind of hard to focus and concentrate. I don't know, you can see everything going by me to the left. Kind of looks like a green screen, but it's not. But anyways, I love you all. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I always end my videos with this. before you say anything that's racist and open your mouth and cause a problem, think about it before you say it. Just don't say it. All right, guys? That's all I got to say about that. I love you all. Peace, love, unity. I'm Davey Z, and I'm out.